Discover how one heartwarming wedding booth swap led to an incredible life-changing love story. Emma woke up to the smell of fresh soil, her fingertips caked in dirt as she prepared the flowers for her cousin's wedding. It was still dark outside, but she had always loved the quiet moments before dawn, where hope felt tangible, almost like the blooms she nurtured in her little greenhouse. At 28, her life was a whirlpool of responsibilities. Between running her florist business, caregiving for her single mother, and looking after her 10-year-old brother Ryan, there were moments when the weight felt unbearable. Yet, she persevered. Today, she was determined to let joy win, even if just for a few hours at the reception. As the sun-bathed maple grove in golden light, laughter erupted around her at the wedding, sweeping her up in a current of happiness. The air buzzed with the chatter of family, the scent of cake, and the dazzling colors of flowers she had painstakingly arranged. But nestled deep in her heart was a tug of discomfort. The expectations of her family weighed on her. Could she embody their ideals? Hard work and community spirit flooded her mind as she mingled, hiding the pang of envy that sprouted each time a cousin introduced her partner. Then came the moment that would change everything. Emma found herself plopped into a photo booth, her cheeks flushed from both laughter and anticipation. Just as she adjusted her flower crown, she collided with Jack, a charming, nervous ball of energy from a world far removed from her own. He had just graduated from an elite college and stood out in a crowd of fancy tailored suits. They giggled over the intercom as they posed sideways, juxtaposed like light and shadow. A sweet, unexpected chemistry crackled between them, as easy as sips of lemonade on a summer's day. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The chaos of their worlds clashed merely seconds later, as laughter faded into whispers. Jack's friends noted her worn boots and the dirt beneath her nails with disdain. Emma's heart sank, but she caught Jack's eye, their shared smile slowly morphing into an understanding of layers, each containing hopes and fears. Reality hit hard, but hope flickered like the fairy lights strung overhead. Weeks slipped by after the wedding, and a storm swept through Maple Grove, transforming the tranquil charm into a battleground. Emma jumped headfirst into community relief efforts, determined to show her resilience. That was where she unexpectedly found Jack among volunteers, a glow of determination on his face as he worked side by side with her. They shared laughter and ideas about rebuilding, yet unspoken walls stood between them. To him, this was a new experience. To Emma, it was life. Miscommunication brewed like storm clouds above them, threatening their growing bond. Then came the town meeting, where Jack's bold speech unleashed emotions across the crowd. It shook the very fabric of what they both thought possible, a challenge to perceptions of wealth and value that echoed in deep silence. Emma gasped as hope collided with skepticism, and she was faced with a choice. Could courage breach the walls of social class? Would their connection endure the scrutiny of their differences? In the quiet that followed, as tension electrified the air, Emma knew she stood at a crossroads that would either unite or divide them. Heart racing, she wondered what choice lay ahead as the town's annual festival loomed just beyond the horizon. Would she shun her brother's school project for a leap into the unknown? With Jack? Love raced through her veins, but so did familial loyalty. Would she weave her heart into this tapestry of chaos, or would the barriers of class snuff out the spark before it ignited? With summer air thick with possibility, a revelation glimmered just out of reach, leaving the path ahead uncertain and layered with challenge and promise. As the sun set on the town festival, the vibrant colors of balloons and banners danced like confetti in the warm summer breeze. Emma's head was spinning with excitement and nerves. She had spent the entire week balancing her time between helping Ryan complete his school project and discussing plans with Jack for their booth at the festival. They had settled on a flower-themed booth as a way to bridge their worlds. Emma's blooms complemented by Jack's artistic flair. The festival buzzed with laughter and music. Emma felt the pulse of joy in the air but couldn't shake the anxiety that clung to her like a second skin. She had invited her family, and she quietly hoped they would see Jack through her eyes, as a person with a kind heart and a bright future rather than solely as the privileged student they would probably perceive him to be. As twilight descended, she caught a glimpse of Jack weaving through the crowd, his face aglow with enthusiasm. He waved, a smile stretching ear to ear, and her heart did a little flip. He held a basket filled with assorted flowers and ribbons, ready to create something beautiful together. The simple gesture made the tension fell away for a moment, as if the world around her fell silent, leaving only the two of them and their shared dream. When he reached her, he casually brushed a stray hair behind her ear and said, "Are we ready to show Maple Grove what we can create?" His genuine excitement was contagious. She couldn't help but grin. As they set up, the atmosphere shifted. Their interactions were light and fun, each laugh threading them closer together while subtly pushing the boundaries of their worlds apart. Yet just as they began to gain traction, the voice of criticism echoed in the distance, pulling Emma's focus back to the harsh reality. Why would someone like him be here? A relative's voice carried to her, dripping with disapproval. Emma winced. Jack noticed her stiffen, his brow creasing with concern. "Are you okay?" he asked softly, the warmth in his brown eyes a comforting presence. "Yeah," she replied, but the knot in her stomach betrayed her. "It's just I'm afraid they won't accept you." Jack's expression hardening slightly, he replied, "You don't owe them an explanation about who I am, Emma. Just let them see us." The conviction in his voice sparked something inside her, a flicker of bravery that made her heart race. With renewed determination, they dove into flower arrangements, the pretty colors offering a welcome distraction. People began stopping by their booth, marveling at Emma's floral designs and Jack's quirky themes. With each smile and nod of approval, Emma saw the seeds of acceptance blossom. Just as she felt herself relaxing, a sudden rustle of the crowd caught her attention. She turned to see her mother standing at the booth's edge, arms crossed tightly over her chest and eyebrows furrowed deeply. "Emma," her mother called out, her tone sharp and rehearsed like a well-worn script. "We need to talk." Emma's blood ran cold. She glanced at Jack, fear creeping back in. Would this be the moment that everything changed? As apprehension snaked through her, she felt the weight of her family's expectations crash down upon her once more. Would she stand firm beside Jack, or would she fold under pressure? With the festival lights shimmering above them, the moment hung heavy. Emma took a deep, shaky breath, ready to confront not just her mother, but the choices that could define her path going forward. The festival behind her buzzed yet felt worlds away. As she prepared to embrace the challenge ahead, would she choose love and all its uncertainties, or retreat back into the safety of familiar expectations? Emma's heart raced as she faced her mother, who looked like a storm ready to break. The crowd behind her blurred into a sea of colors and sounds. It felt like they were the only two people at the festival. Jack's steady presence felt both comforting and weighty, as if he were holding up a mirror reflecting her struggles. "Excuse me for a moment," she said to Jack, the tremor in her voice revealing her nerves. He nodded, giving her an encouraging smile that both reassured and terrified her at once. She stepped away from the booth, feeling the eyes of onlookers slide over her like a wave. "What are you doing here?" her mother asked, her voice low and measured but filled with a barely contained urgency. Emma saw the tightness around her mother's mouth and the furrowed brow that always accompanying serious conversations. "We're just having fun, Mom. I'm helping with the flower booth." "It's a project with Jack," she replied, trying to keep her tone light, but the weight of her mother's disappointment loomed over her. "Jack?" Her mother scoffed softly, the disappointment morphing into something sharper. "You really think you should be spending time with someone like him? You know how people will talk. This isn't who you are." Emma felt a surge of frustration. "And who am I, exactly?" she demanded, her voice rising a notch. The defiance surprised her, fueled by moments of self-doubt that had been building for far too long. "Jack is talented, kind, and he respects me. Why can't you just look at him as a person instead of judging him based on whatever you see?" Her mother sighed, the fight leaving her for a moment. Emma could see that she was caught off guard. "Emma, I just don't want you to get hurt. You have so much potential, so many options, and I'm afraid he might distract you from that." "Maybe I want to be distracted, Mom. Maybe I want to do something different, be someone different." The words spilled out before she could hold them back. A heavy silence hung between them, filled with the distant sounds of laughter and music. Emma could sense her mother's discomfort, the familiar tension that emerged whenever conversations turned serious and honest. Then her mother took a deep breath, relaxing her arms but leaving an unresolved tension in the air. "I just want what's best for you," she said softly, sounding vulnerable for a moment. That tone made Emma's heart ache. "I know, Mom. But you have to trust me to make my own choices. This is who I want to be right now. Can't you see that?" From the corner of her eye, she spotted Jack still at the booth, arranging the flowers with ease. The sight of him, so absorbed in their project, reminded her of all the possibilities waiting beyond her mother's expectations. There was so much more to explore, and Emma felt the desire to grasp it tightly in her hands. She flicked her gaze back to her mother. "Please, just give him a chance." For a moment, Emma's mother's expression softened, but just as quickly, her disappointment returned. "Emma, think this through. There are things I'm trying to protect you from." And just like that, she could feel the fragile line threatening to snap. Would she back down or take the plunge headfirst into a choice that could define her? Jack was still waiting, a beacon of hope, and yet here she was, stuck in a tug-of-war between two worlds. As the music swelled in the background, Emma looked into her mother's eyes, searching for a sign of understanding. But there was only doubt. Would this moment sever the bond they shared? Steeling her heart, Emma clenched her fists, feeling the uncertainty twist around her. She had to make a decision, and she realized now that this was about so much more than just Jack. Taking a deep breath, she felt the weight of the moment as she prepared to choose. But would her mother accept it? "Mom, this isn't just about Jack. It's about me. Can we start there?" The crowded festival felt far away as the spotlight shifted firmly onto her. Emma held her breath, the air thick with anticipation. She knew time was passing, moments slipping through her fingers like sand at the beach. Her mother's face was a canvas of confusion and concern, and in that silence, the noise of the festival faded into the background. "Emma." Her mother's voice was trembling now, revealing the cracks in her maternal armor. "I just want you to have a good future. I want you to be happy," she pleaded, the words spilling out with a raw honesty that tugged at Emma's heart. Emma took a step closer, grounding herself in the moment. "I need to figure out what makes me happy, not what you think will," she said, her voice steadying. "I know you're trying to protect me, but I need to live. Not just exist under your expectations." The tension between them felt electric, sizzling with the unspoken truths they both carried. Emma could see the way her mother's eyes shimmered, wrestling with the emotions that never showed up in their everyday conversations. It was easy to hide behind expectations, but here, in this moment, was a raw authenticity neither had experienced in years. Her mother's lips quivered before she spoke again. "But this Jack, it's complicated. What will everyone think, Emma?" Emma shook her head, taking in the vibrant festival around them, with laughter and joyous chatter mixing with colorful sights. "I can't live my life based on what everyone else thinks. I need to find my own path. Isn't that what you've always wanted for me?" The reality of her words hung in the air. Could her mother let go of her own fears? Emma's heart raced at the thought. She felt her determination growing stronger, her voice more confident. "You taught me that I could be anything I wanted to be. Why can't I start now?" At that moment, Emma caught a glimpse of Jack again, still tending to the booth, unaware of the storm brewing just a few steps away. The warmth radiating from him was magnetic, pulling her toward a future she had only begun to envision. Her mother's gaze followed Emma's, and she sighed, the weight of her worries evident. Jack's background. "It's not what we're used to, Emma. It's not what we planned." "Maybe it's time to break the plan," Emma said, her heart pounding. "This is my life. Not a checklist. I want to experience everything: love, art, even the risk of disappointment. Isn't that worth something?" Her voice trembled with sincerity. A flicker of understanding sparked in her mother's eyes, but doubt still hovered. "Emma, you're so young. You'll be faced with choices that will impact the rest of your life. And I'll learn from them," Emma replied, adrenaline surging through her. "But right now, I want to choose Jack. Will you support that?" Silence enveloped them again, a blanket of hope and fear woven tight. Emma's heart ached for acceptance. She needed it more than ever, and as she searched her mother's face, she thought she saw the smallest glimmer of acceptance. "I just don't want you to regret anything." "I probably will," Emma said, a small smile tugging at her lips. "But it'll be my regret to own. Isn't that worth something?" As the festival lights twinkled above, her mother finally seemed to see the depth of her daughter's resolve, the undeniable spark of growth stirring within her. Yet, Emma knew this was far from over. The choice lay heavy on her mother's shoulders as well. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd as a couple stepped onto the stage, preparing to announce the next festival event. The cheers washed over them like a wave, breaking through their heavy exchange, and a part of Emma felt it a call to embrace the excitement all around them. "Mom, can we try? Just one step forward together?" The vulnerable plea hung in the air, filled with promise. Before her mother could answer, Emma's heart sank lightly. The festival buzz welcomed that sense of thrill, a chance at connection, like an invitation from the universe. Would her mother take that chance alongside her? As they stood on the edge of understanding, Emma felt time slipping again, and uncertainty clung closely. Would they face this moment together, or would it create a divide? The tension was palpable as they locked eyes. Would her mother finally take the leap of faith? The moment hung in the air, a fragile thread connecting them. Emma watched her mother's face, searching for the answer hidden within her eyes. It felt like standing at the edge of a cliff, not knowing if the leap would lead to freedom or failure. The crowd roared around them, but all she could hear was the racing pulse in her ears. Finally, her mother took a breath. Emma, the way she said her name sounded almost hopeful, like the beginning of a song. But then, just as quickly, that spark faded. "What will we tell your father?" Emma felt her stomach twist. That was the unspoken fear lingering at the back of her mind. She had hoped this was merely a conversation between her and her mother, that the decision would be simple. But life rarely handed out simplicity. "You don't have to tell him just yet." "Can't we just?" Her mother shook her head sadly. "But it's not just about us, is it? Your father has expectations too, and he won't be easy to convince. It's more complicated than you realize." "Life is complicated, Mom," Emma exclaimed, a little louder than she intended. The frustration bubbled up, a mix of yearning and fear. "Why can't we just be honest? I'm tired of covering up." The words slipped out, raw and real, catching her mother off guard. For a moment, the older woman's brows furrowed, a mixture of pride and worry crossing her face. "I know you want to be true to yourself," her mother said softly. "But I don't want to lose you to the chaos of this world." "Then help me face it," Emma pleaded, feeling the weight of mountains on her shoulders. "If nothing else, I want to navigate this with you, instead of against you." Her mother sighed deeply, looking away momentarily as laughter and music from the festival blurred into a whirl of colors. Emma could almost see the moment her mother began to reconsider, every unspoken worry playing out in her features like an old record. Suddenly, a shout rang out, pulling Emma's attention momentarily. Jack was waving at her from across the boisterous crowd, his hands making exaggerated gestures while he spoke to some friends nearby. The sunlight caught his hair, making him shine like a beacon amidst the chaos. His smile was wide, the kind that promised adventure and warmth, a stark contrast to the tension enveloping her now. "See?" Emma said, trying to redirect her focus back to her mother, her voice quieter this time. "That's what I want. Moments like that. Isn't that worth it?" Her mother met Jack's gaze. There was a flicker of hesitance on her face, an internal battle between duty and love, between past expectations and the present moment. Emma took a step closer, her heart thudding with anticipation. "Mom, please," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly with urgency. "I need you to believe in me and us." Time seemed to hold its breath again. The laughter and music faded, replaced by a serene quiet that pulsed around them. Emma's breath caught as she watched her mother's expression soften, all the worry washing away for a fleeting moment. Then, with a subtle shift, her mother spoke. What if we take it one step at a time? Just one." Hope surged inside Emma, sparking with the thrill of possibility. "That's all I want," she breathed, feeling lighter. But just as relief began to settle in, a loud announcement rang out from the festival stage, calling everyone to gather for an unexpected event. The atmosphere shifted, pulling at Emma's curiosity and her mother's apprehension. "What do you think it is?" Emma asked, her interest piqued but shadowed by her mother's hesitation. "I don't know," her mother replied, glancing between the stage and Emma. "But maybe we should see?" With a shared look, the two women took a step toward the crowd, uncertainty mingling with excitement. Until that moment, they had only been standing on the edge of something new, but now? They were beginning to move forward together. As they navigated through the throng, Emma's pulse quickened. Whatever was about to happen could change everything. What would the event reveal? Would it bring them closer, or shake the foundations of their new understanding? As they made their way through the crowd, Emma felt the weight of possibility shift, and a swirl of exhilaration enveloped them both. As they inched closer to the stage, a tangible energy surged through the air. The vibrant colors of the festival stretched out in front of them, mingling with the bright emotions swirling in Emma's heart. She glanced up at her mother, who wore a mix of nervousness and intrigue. Every step felt monumental, like crossing a bridge into an unknown future. The announcement echoed again, this time clearer. "Join us for a surprise celebration. We're opening a wedding booth for couples of all kinds. Share your love story." The crowd erupted in cheers and applause, eager for the next round of festive fun. Emma's eyes sparkled. "Mom, look. We could share our story. It could be like a new beginning for us." But her mother hesitated, the shadows of doubt creeping back onto her features. "Do we really want to expose ourselves like that? What if people judge us? Who cares what they think?" Emma exclaimed, the defiance in her voice bubbling up. "Everyone's here to celebrate love, to embrace who they are. We should be part of that." In the sea of faces, Emma caught sight of Jack again, laughter in his eyes as he interacted with their friends nearby. It struck her that they had the chance to show their truth to the world, to embrace love at its core. She could picture the booth now, decorated with ribbons and flowers, a small corner of happiness in the midst of the festival chaos. "We just talked about being honest," Emma urged, her voice softer but urgent. "Why not start here? We can show them what love and acceptance really looks like." After a moment that stretched on like a breath held too long, her mother nodded slowly. "Okay, Emma. One step at a time, remember?" Heart racing, Emma took her mother's hand as they navigated the last distance to the booth. The crowd was thick, people jumping up and down with enthusiasm as others shared their lively moments. As they reached the booth, an energetic couple, decked out in whimsical costumes, invited them in. "Simon. We need love stories, and yours is bound to be special." Emma's heart swelled at the warmth radiating from those around her. She felt the stir of hope and courage bubbling to the surface. Maybe this was the leap she needed. Stepping into the booth together, an unexpected wave of vulnerability washed over them. As they settled down, colorful props surrounded them: a cardboard cutout of a heart, oversized sunglasses, and colorful feather boas. "Let us just have fun," Emma whispered, catching her mother's eye again. "We don't have to think about anything but this moment." With each silly prop they picked up, the laughter between them began to slice through the tension that had clouded their relationship. Both of them started to let go of their fears, if only for a few seconds, as giggles and playful poses filled the air. But just then, as they posed for a delightful photo, they overheard snippets from the crowd outside. Whispers of admiration for other couples filled the booth, a range of stories and struggles, all woven into moments of joy. It reminded Emma of how deeply people craved connection in a world that so often told them to hide. Suddenly, Emma's heart raced again, realizing they were part of this larger tapestry. "Mom, we can add our story to this tapestry. We can be a source of inspiration." But before her mother could respond, the energetic couple running the booth tapped the microphone, drawing everyone's attention. "Let us hear from our newest stars." Emma stiffened, glancing at her mother with a mix of determination and fear. What if revealing themselves would only lead to the judgment her mother had feared? As the couple turned toward them, expecting their story, Emma caught her mother's gaze, filled with unspoken connection. It was a moment that could define them, not just as individuals, but as a family. It was up to her to choose. Would she step forward into the light, or shadow herself again? Will you take that step with me? Emma whispered, that familiar tension in the air again, more intense than ever. Her mother seemed to contemplate a world of possibilities, but just. As she opened her mouth to respond, the crowd surged in anticipation. The weight around them shifted, and suddenly, it felt like everything was about to change. How would they navigate this pivotal moment together? Would they embrace the chance to be seen, truly seen, by the world? Emma's heart pounded in her chest like a drum, the anticipation thick between her and her mother. The moment hung there, palpable, like a scene stretched out in slow motion. There was a flicker of uncertainty in her mother's eyes, but right beside it, Emma saw a spark. A mixture of fear and excitement danced in the air around them. The couple at the booth, oblivious to the turmoil inside them, smiled wide. Come on, we want to hear your story. Their infectious enthusiasm pulled Emma's mother back from the edge of doubt. Taking a breath, Emma leaned closer to her mom. We can do this, she whispered, her voice steady. The world needs to hear from us. Her mother glanced at the crowd, taking in the laughter, the joy, and something else, the comfort in shared vulnerability. With a nod, her mother finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 words. Okay, together. They clasped hands tightly, fingers intertwined, ready to face whatever came next. Ladies and gentlemen. The host called into the microphone, drawing every eye in the vicinity. We have a special mother-daughter duo here to share their love story. As those words echoed around them, the crowd erupted in cheers and applause, each sound a wave of warmth washing over Emma. With the spotlight on them, Emma felt the push of adrenaline, an exhilarating mix of fear and freedom. She could see Jack in the crowd now, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. Hi everyone. I'm Emma, and this is my mom, she started, her voice growing stronger with each word. We've had our ups and downs, like everyone else, but we've been learning how to love each other better every day. The crowd listened intently, their faces filled with interest and compassion. Emma could feel their energy, a collective heartbeat of understanding that surged through her. In that moment, the barrier of fear began to crack. My mom, Emma continued, glancing at her mother, has always been my rock. But there was a time when we struggled to connect. We both carry our own stories. She watched as her mother inhaled deeply, her expression softening. I didn't know how to support Emma fully, her mother admitted, her voice shaking slightly. I worried so much about what people would think. But now, I realize that love is about being true to ourselves, together. As the crowd responded with warmth and kind applause, Emma felt a wave of relief. They were connecting, truly connecting, not just with each other, but with everyone around them. Emma and I have learned it's okay to be different, her mother went on, the fear ebbing away as she became more comfortable in her vulnerability. Our love story started from a place of uncertainty, but it transformed into acceptance. We are still writing it, every day. They posed for pictures, laughter erupting like fireworks. The memories they were creating today would tether them together through the uncertain paths ahead. The festival continued to bustle outside the booth, sounds of laughter from other couples competing with the distant beats of joyful music. Emma's heart soared as she looked at her mom, who now beamed with pride. Then, as if sensing the change, the crowd erupted into applause again, a wave of support that enveloped them. Emma felt lighter than air. It wasn't just about their story being heard, it was about empowerment. They were breaking down walls, one laugh at a time. But then, like a sudden storm at sea, the energy shifted. Emma's heart sank as she felt a wave of mixed emotions hit her. She saw someone in the front row, their face twisted in judgment. How would it feel if they let that shadow dim their light? You can't let them take away this moment. Emma whispered to her mom. No matter what anyone else thinks, we have each other. Her mother met her gaze, something fierce and hopeful in her eyes. You're right, Emma. Let us not look back. Let us only move forward, together. With renewed strength, Emma could feel the anticipation in the air. What would happen next? Their journey was unfolding in front of them, filled with possibilities. As the crowd continued to cheer, Emma's heart raced in excitement, but also with a bittersweet uncertainty. They had taken the leap. Would it bring them closer, or would the judgment break them apart? What lay ahead was still a mystery, but Emma knew one thing for sure: together, they were ready to face it. And then, she caught Jack's eye again. There was more than admiration in his gaze, there was an invitation. What could that mean for her and her story? What would it take for them to truly embrace love? As the applause echoed through the air, Emma's heart danced between pride and anxiety. She shared a glance with her mother, both feeling the emotional weight of the moment. The bond they had forged, while fragile, now felt like a rope woven tight enough to withstand any storm. "Thank you, everyone," her mother called out, her voice stronger than before. "Love is messy. It's chaotic. But it's also beautiful." The audience responded with cheering that resonated deep within Emma's chest. That warmth, that acceptance, wrapped around them like a cozy blanket. Then, abruptly, the moment shifted again. Jack, with his charismatic smile, started making his way through the crowd, his eyes locked on Emma. She felt butterflies swirl wildly in her stomach. What was he going to say? Her thoughts raced, filled with a mix of excitement and self-doubt, as if someone flipped the light switch and cast shadows on their joyful moment. "Emma!" he called as he closed the distance. "That was amazing. You took such a leap up there." His genuine admiration poured over her, making her blush. "Thank you, Jack," she replied, her voice barely a whisper. "I didn't know if we could do it, but it felt right." "You shone," he said, beaming. But as he spoke, Emma caught a fleeting glimpse of the judgmental person from the front row in Jack's eyes. He quickly masked it with enthusiasm, but Emma felt that flicker of doubt creep back in. Her mother, sensing the shift, took a step closer to Emma, grounding her with a reassuring presence. "We're learning to stand together, no matter what," she asserted, the strength in her voice radiating through Emma like sunlight. Jack nodded, absorbing her words, but his expression changed slightly. "What should we do now?" he asked, glancing around, uncertainty flickering in his gaze. "So we celebrate," Emma suggested, hoping her excitement could chase away the clouds. "Have you grabbed any treats? The festival is full of amazing food and games." The idea of soft pretzels and cotton candy sent a rush of joy through her veins. Jack laughed, his face lighting up, the earlier tension fading away. "How did you know I'm obsessed with festival snacks?" "Well, it's a secret I've kept from even my mom," she teased, nudging her mother playfully. Laughter bubbled between them, lifting the weight of earlier judgment out of the air. As the trio wandered through the festival, Emma felt the life around her pulsing with energy. Bright lights twinkled, children squealed in delight, and the aroma of fried dough filled her lungs. In that moment, she realized how crucial it was to celebrate joy despite the shadows lurking nearby. Before long, they found themselves standing before the Ferris wheel, its colorful lights spinning like stories waiting to unfold. Emma hesitated, still feeling the sting of lingering doubt inside her. What if the judgment she sensed was lurking just out of sight? "Are we really up for this?" she asked, glancing at her mother. "Always," her mother replied, determination lacing her tone. "We rise to every challenge." Jack stepped close, catching Emma's eye. "Come on, Emma, let us take this ride together. It could be fun." There was an invitation in his smile, a promise that they would face whatever came their way together. Taking a deep breath, Emma nodded. "Let us do it." They climbed into the waiting cart, anticipation crackling in the air, hearts racing as they slowly rose high above the festival. As the world below shrank, Emma's thoughts twirled with excitement and fear. She looked at Jack, who beamed at her. The ride was just beginning, but there was more than just fun on the horizon. There was also the unknown. What would come next? The wheel turned, and her heart soared, not just with the thrill of the ride, but with the possibility that perhaps they could face both love and judgment together, weaving a bright narrative of their own. But then, as they reached the peak, a sudden silence enveloped them. Would they be prepared for what awaited when the wheel descended? What hidden truths might come to light as they uncovered each other's stories? As the Ferris wheel crested at its highest point, Emma's breath caught in her throat. Below, the kaleidoscope of festival life stretched out like a vibrant patchwork. For a moment, she felt untouchable, suspended between exhilaration and dread. It was an incredible view, yet beneath it lurked uncertainty, the fear of what could follow once the wheel started its plummet back to earth. Jack shifted beside her, breaking the spell. "Look at that! We can see the whole festival from up here." His voice was rich with excitement. Emma turned to him, drawing strength from the way his eyes sparkled with childlike wonder. "Yeah, it's beautiful," she managed, though her thoughts spiraled back to the nagging insecurities that still echoed within. What if everything shifted the moment they stepped back down? Suddenly, the peaceful height began to feel overwhelming. No pressure, Emma thought, but the words weighed like lead, heavy with her fears. She wanted the moment to last but simultaneously craved the grounding comfort of her mother's presence below. "Hey, Emma," Jack interrupted her racing thoughts. "Can I ask you something?" His voice turned serious, and Emma felt a flutter of anxiety blossom in her stomach. "What were you feeling right before you stepped on stage?" Emma hesitated, the lights from the festival dimming in her peripheral vision as she focused on Jack's earnest gaze. Should she tell him about the fear that threatened to choke her, the memories of judgment echoing in her mind? She took a breath, feeling the air fill her lungs as she decided to trust him. "I was terrified. I thought maybe everyone would just see the flaws, the mistakes, all of the things that I was so afraid of," she admitted, her heart pounding as she bared a piece of her soul. Jack nodded, serious and compassionate. "But you didn't let that stop you," he said, his warmth spreading through the chill of her vulnerability. "You stood there, that was brave. You faced it." His words wrapped around her, something soft and precious. It was true, she did face it. Perhaps they were both learning to confront the doubts lingering in corners of their hearts. "And what about you?" she asked, curiosity shining against her insecurities. "Did you feel that too? On stage?" Jack's face tightened briefly, a shadow flickering across his features before he smiled again. "More than I'd like to admit. I thought, what if I didn't live up to the expectations? What if I embarrassed myself or, even worse, let you down?" Emma's heart swelled. "You could never let me down. You're Jack," she whispered, leaning closer, her trust deepening in that small space between them. As the ride began its descent, their hearts raced not just with adrenaline, but with newfound insight. They were unearthing shared fears, a foundation upon which they could build something deeper. The festival lights began to swirl as they neared the ground, giving birth to the realization that they were both navigating the weight of expectations, but just as they reached the bottom, something shifted again. A woman stormed toward the Ferris wheel, her expression a blend of anger and disbelief, zeroing in on Jack. Emma felt a knot tighten in her stomach. What was going on? Who was this woman? "Jack!" the stranger yelled, drawing the attention of festival goers. "You can't just disappear when things get tough. You promised." Emma's heart sank. The joy from moments before felt like it was crashing around her. Jack's supportive gesture was suddenly overshadowed by the storm breaching their fragile moment. Emma caught sight of the man's face, a mix of shock and guilt. What secrets were now threatening to unravel the connection they had just forged? What did this mysterious woman know? And how would it change everything? As the crowd's gaze shifted, Emma's heart raced. The scene felt like a tidal wave crashing down, ready to drown them all. Jack's expression faltered, a look of panic flickering in his eyes as he faced the woman who had stormed in like a thundercloud. Emma instinctively tightened her grip on the safety bar of the Ferris wheel, as if it could keep her grounded. "Who is she?" Emma whispered, glancing at Jack, whose face had turned pale. "Is she?" "She is my ex," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't expect her to show up here." The words hung in the air like a dense fog. Emma's heart sank unexpectedly low, emotions swirling like leaves in a storm. This was the very chaos they had just been learning to navigate together, the unforeseen vulnerability that could turn tides. "Jack! We need to talk." The woman shouted again, her voice carrying a harsh edge that pierced through the festival's joyful atmosphere. As the couple stepped off the ride, Emma felt exposed, caught between love and the unknown. What could this woman possibly want? The crowd murmured, eyes darting back and forth, curiosity mixing with the fleeting pulse of unease. Jack took a deep breath, visibly struggling to steady himself. "Emma, I don't want to interfere," Emma said quickly, the knot in her stomach tightening. "It's your life. You should handle this." Yet her voice wavered, betraying the shadow of doubt creeping in. "No, wait," he said, stepping closer, their eyes locking in a world of unspoken connection. "You deserve to be a part of this too. I don't want to hide anything from you." The woman approached them, an intense resolve in her eyes. "I need to speak with you about us," she said sharply, glancing at Emma as if to remind her she wasn't welcome in this piece of Jack's history. Emma's heart raced. This was a scene she hadn't prepared for. "Wait." Jack interrupted, taking a decisive step forward. "I'm with Emma now. We're figuring things out together." The woman's brow furrowed, confusion mingling with frustration. "But you promised me you'd consider things again. I thought we were still in this fight." "There is nothing to fight for anymore," Jack replied, his voice laced with a steady confidence that Emma admired. "I've moved on, and I really wish you could too." Emma's heart swelled with a mix of relief and pride at Jack's maturity. Here was a moment they could define together, a stand against past baggage and an embrace of acknowledgement. "But you can't just abandon our shared dreams," the woman exclaimed, her tone laced with desperation. "Believe me, I'm not abandoning anything. I'm choosing something new, something real." Jack's proclamation hung heavy in the air, as Emma felt a rush of emotions swirl within her. She couldn't help but admire his resolve, his commitment to their connection. Like within a storm, chants of support rose from the crowd, a unified chorus echoing against the fleeting tension. Emma felt emboldened, ready to face this stranger if need be. In this moment, Jack was demonstrating that choosing love meant standing firm against the obstacles thrown in their path. "Jack, are you sure about this?" Emma asked quietly. "Absolutely," he said, a determined spark lighting up his features. "I want you, Emma. I'm not letting anyone take that away from us." The weight of those words wrapped around her heart snugly, as though the universe itself were affirming the connection they had forged. Just then, the woman's demeanor softened slightly. "I didn't want to disrupt anything. I was just surprised to see you here." Her voice trailed off, retreating from hostility to something more vulnerable, as the crowd's support wrapped around them like a protective barrier. Emma felt her mother's presence in the backdrop, her eyes full of disbelief, maybe even a touch of pride at Emma building this life-defining moment. "Jack, just be honest with her," Emma encouraged, her own heart pounding for him. The ex looked between the two of them before her shoulders sagged. "I just thought I didn't want to lose anything with you. I thought we were still on the same page." Jack shook his head slightly. "We both need to be happy. I truly hope you find it, but I've chosen love in a new direction. And it'd mean a lot if you could let this go." The crowd held its breath, and slowly awkwardness ebbed as understanding poured in. Emma felt as if the tension was melting away, giving way to something tangible, healing. "Okay," the woman said finally, clutching her arms around herself, eyes brimming with emotion. "I respect that." Jack nodded gently, a flicker of relief in his eyes. The space between them felt enveloped in resolution. As the lingering clouds began to disperse, Emma turned to Jack, her expression unwavering. "We faced it together," she said, and in that moment, she realized how far they had come, not only as individuals but as a partnership, and amidst it all, hope flickered brighter than ever, binding them together in anticipation of the challenges yet to come. As the festival resumed around them, bursting with laughter, cheers, and the smell of delicious food, Emma felt a new life coursing through her veins, one that embraced love and truth and allowed her to choose her own narrative. In the midst of it all, she heard her mother's voice from a distance calling out, full of acceptance, "I'm so proud of you both." It resonated in Emma's heart, a warm embrace of understanding that made tears prick at her eyes. "What now?" Jack asked, a smile creeping onto his lips. "Now." Emma grinned, "Now we go celebrate love, our love." And with that, they stepped forward together, ready to embrace the unknown that lay ahead, fortified by their undeniable bond. The evening glowed around them, vibrant with possibilities, as they ventured into a brighter future hand in hand. In this moment, one thing was sure: love would always be their guiding light. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire and touch your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support truly makes a difference in getting this story to more people. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Your engagement shows you're part of this community, and only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.